so I guess what I want to say is that as I start is that you need to be open and you need to be ready for the ride. And sometimes it's an easy ride, and sometimes it can be a wild ride, but sort of be ready for it. And I think that we parents, need to acknowledge that there's some anxiety on our part about this process. And you need to acknowledge it, and you need to articulate it, you need to say it out loud, and then you need to get over it, right? Because your daughters, especially in a place like this, are going to have lots of anxiety about the process. And you, as a parent, are going to need to help her through that. The anxiety comes from the right place. You know, we all want our kids to be happy and successful, but we need to be able to handle our anxiety. We have been accused of being helicopter parents. I know you've heard that term before, that we hover over our kids and are over-involved in our kids. And ours was the generation where I can remember, you know, my son would go to a soccer game, and we'd be driving home in the car, and we would say, "Oh, John, that was, you know, a great kick or goal or a great defensive move. What a great game. Did you have some fun? Wasn't it fun?" And he'd say, "Yeah, and we won." And we would say, "Oh no, nobody kept score. No winners, no losers. Everybody's a winner. Everybody gets a trophy," right? We never let our kids fail, especially the high-achieving kids. And this might be the first time that they hear no. And so we've got to be ready for that and to help them through that. I think the other thing we need to do is make sure that they understand, and we know this because we're the parents, that this is not the most important decision they're going to make in their lives. It's very important for the 17-year-olds. It's the first big decision that they're going to make, but it's not the most important decision they're going to make. We know that choosing a spouse or life partner is more important than where you go to college, right? Deciding to have a child or 2 or 3, more important than where you go to college. Deciding to put your parents in a nursing home, more important than where you go to college. It's important, right, and especially in their lives, but it's not the most important decision that they're ever going to make. So this process, this college search process, is filled with anxiety, but there's also challenge, but also opportunity, especially for girls who are going to go to a place like this who have had great advantage in having this kind of experience. It can be a big transition for students. It'll be a transition for you. And one of the things I think, if your daughter's a boarder, I think sometimes parents of boarders think that the transition, it's not going to be a big transition. Oh, they've already lived away, they've had a roommate, you know, they've had some independence. But it's a big watershed moment in their life when they go to college. So even if they've had this experience as a boarder, it's still going to be a big transition and a big move in their lives. You start out, especially for the students, with self-reflection. You know, what am I thinking about college? What do I want? Why do I want to go to college? But also for parents. You know, what do I want for her? That kind of thing. But you need to be ready that your expectations are going to be different than hers, and you need to talk about it. And in my case, with my son, I went to a big university as an undergrad, and I think, and this is why I work at a small liberal arts college, I think I belong to a small liberal arts college. And I think that small liberal arts colleges are the way to deliver undergraduate education. So I wanted my son to go where? To a small liberal arts college. And he went to a big public high school. And he said to me, "Mom, there are almost 2,000 students in my high school. Why would I want to go to a college the same size as my high school?" At one point, his guidance counselor said to me, "Mrs. Shaver, there are 2,000 students in this high school. There's not one that John Shaver doesn't know." It was not a compliment. He was a very social kid. And he wanted to go to a big university. And I sort of resisted, but I needed to understand that I wasn't going to college. This was his search. And I needed to allow him to do that search. And lo and behold, where is he? He's at a big university, deliriously happy. Deliriously happy. And so it was the right fit for him. It wasn't about what was the right fit for me, right? So we had different expectations. You need to ask your daughter, you know, why do you want to go to college? And be ready for the answer. I mean, obviously, in my case, it was, why do you want to go to college? Well, I don't. I want to be a rock star. But ask her to think about those things before the process. And the thing to remember is it's about fit. And I know you're going to say that a lot through the process. It's about the match and the fit. It's not about the name. And here I am, a director of admission at a name college. But it's not about the name. It's about where the best fit is. So what are the family dynamics and what is the role of the parent? Here are the things I want you to keep in mind as a parent. You are not going to college, your daughter is. This isn't a do-over, okay? Most of you probably already went to college. You don't get to do it again. If you didn't go to college, it's not your time. It's your daughter's time. You need to sit quietly to the side and let your child control the process. So I'm going to say this in my sweetest, warmest, nicest voice. You got to back off and let her control the process. If you're controlling the process, she's just going to get the wrong messages and not going to buy into the final decision, which needs to be hers. Communication is critical. You know this. Communication is critical. Be supportive and listen. Listen more than you talk. I think the most important question you can ask your daughter, even if she's a senior, but certainly if she's younger than that, is how can I help make the remaining time you have in high school a time that you love? How can I make you love the rest of this experience in high school? I worry as a director of admission that kids aren't sleeping. I worry that they're incredibly stressed. I worry they're not having fun. I had fun in high school. And I worry that kids aren't having fun in high school. And they're coming to college, especially highly selective colleges like Smith, very stressed out. They need to have balance in their lives. And the other thing about a community like this is that if you think the kids, especially the kids who are juniors and seniors, aren't talking about college all the time, you're wrong. They are. And so if you think that, gosh, I wonder if she's thinking about college, and has she been thinking about it, and you feel this need to nag about it, you're just adding to the conversation that she's having all the time in school as it is. So you need to be careful about that. Kids in a community like this get it. They get the whole college thing, why it's important, and that they've got to be on that path. The role that you can play is sort of administrative assistant. You're great at organization, bringing your daughter on college visits and organizing college visits. So you do certainly play an important role. And the other thing, this generation of students, while they might not give you the impression that your opinion is important or that they're listening to you, they are. They may rebel against it, or they may not be saying, oh, tell me more, but they are listening, because this generation really does like you as their parents. Remember that more selective doesn't mean better. More selective means more selective. I think that the bad news is that if your daughter's looking at the Ivies or the little Ivies or the little Ivies, there's no such thing as a little Ivy, I mean the highly selective colleges, chances are she's not getting in. You know, some of the most selective colleges are admitting in the single digits. It's crazy, right? Here's the good news. If your daughter's looking at schools in the United States of America, there are over 2,500 four-year institutions. If your daughter wants to go to college, she's going to college. She wants to go to a good college, whatever that means to her, she's going to a good college. I mean, how lucky are we?